This is KVUE News Daybreak.
A stormy weekend ahead for Central Texas. I'll give you a look at what you can expect coming up.
Give us your prayers tonight because we're hurting. But we're going to continue to do the good job that we always do.
An emotional morning in San Antonio. A massive fire at a shopping center takes the life of a firefighter and leaves another in the hospital. What we're learning about the firefighter who was killed and the fire that took his life.
And after multiple safety concerns around the UT campus, Austin City Council is getting involved. The new additions they want to add to West Campus.
Good Friday morning to you, and thank you for joining us for Daybreak at 6 a.m. I'm Brian May.
And I'm Yvonne Nava. Before we check in with Anavid Reyes for a look at the roads, let's get to the weather with Erica Lopez and what we can expect this weekend. It's going to be wet, right?
That's right. A cold front pushing through our viewing area is going to bring some heavy rain at times, especially Saturday evening and Saturday night. I'll get to that in a second, but live look outside this Friday morning. Here's what we're tracking as you're heading out the door. 70s. It's a warm start to the morning, kind of a repeat of yesterday. Humidity is slightly lower, but it's still pretty sticky out there. Plan for the humidity to stick around all day. Overcast skies and possibly a sprinkle for your morning commute. This afternoon, storm chances mainly for the hill country are in the forecast because this area of low pressure still causing a widespread of severe weather. The main concern will be north of our viewing area. So yet again, Austin remains south of the severe weather threat. It's just the hill country where they are under a slight risk and a marginal risk. That's why we're calling it a 30% chance for some possible storms this afternoon. Here's how it'll play out. I want to show you by this evening what the forecast models are showing. This is why we can't rule out a strong storm or two that could be in the forecast this evening again for the hill country. Here's a sneak peek at your weekend forecast. Lots of rain headed our way. If you have any outdoor plans, best bet will be the first half of Saturday. But even then, rain chances are still strong. Heavy rain possible Saturday evening into the night, though, and scattered showers continue through Sunday. Turning things over to Anavid Reyes, what is happening in terms of traffic?
Just a couple of closures this weekend, so if you're barely tuning in with us, good morning. I've been touching on this closure. It'll affect those of you traveling in the downtown area. This is due to that big move. Del Seaton will now be opening, so Seaton staff will be transferring those patients there, and therefore some of these roads will be closed. The first one, Red River Street from MLK up to Brick Oven Restaurant, and then the second street is 15th Street from I-35 up to Trinity Street. So these are a couple of closures for you to watch out for this weekend, starting Sunday, 12 a.m. And everything will be back open on Monday. And again, UMC Brackenridge is closing. I'll leave you with the live look at 183 at Mopac southbound. Looking pretty nice this morning, guys. Back to you.
Anavid, thank you. All new overnight, we now know the identity of the San Antonio firefighter killed in a massive fire at a mall there in San Antonio last night. Fire officials say this man, Scott Deem, was a 6-year veteran of the department. The fire started at the Ingram Park Shopping Center around 9 p.m. Officials say firefighters entered that building to look for people who may have been inside. Once under the roof, the flames spread and the firefighters could not escape.
We have firefighters that fought fire desperately tonight to try to save their friend's life. You work with people for a third of your life in this job, and any one of us would lay down our lives for another firefighter, and they fought heroically.
2 other firefighters also injured in that fire. They're expected to survive. Fire officials are asking for your prayers as they try to cope with this tragedy. No word yet on what started the fire. The San Antonio Fire Department will hold a news conference this morning with more information. We'll bring you the very latest details throughout the day here on KVUE and KVUE.com.
And this morning, we're also getting our first look at the man who plowed his car into a crowd at New York's Times Square. Officers say this driver here in the brown shirt, 26-year-old Richard Rojas, took a wrong turn and jumped a curb, crashing into the crowds. Officials say it was not an act of terrorism. He injured 22 people and killed an 18-year-old who was visiting New York from Michigan. The young woman's friends say she was on vacation with her family.
Well, I told her to have fun and to take lots of pictures, and she said, I will, I love you, and she was just selfless. She always wanted to make other people happy, and that's all she ever cared about.
Well, the other people injured in the crash are expected to be okay. Officials say the driver tried to take off after the final crash, but as you can see, pedestrians tackled him before he could get away. Police say the Navy veteran tested positive for PCP and that he said he, quote, felt like the world was ending right before the crash happened. He's charged with 1 count of murder, 20 counts of attempted murder, and 5 counts of aggravated vehicular homicide.
Today, President Donald Trump will travel to the Middle East to meet with European allies in the fight against terrorism. But that's not the only issue he's battling. ABC's Janae Norman explains how the president is reacting to an investigation of his presidential campaign.
Good morning. President Trump tweeted calling this investigation the single greatest witch hunt of a politician in American history. But there aren't too many lawmakers backing the president on this one. The president is sticking to his guns, insisting the FBI's investigation is nothing more than a witch hunt, even as members of his own party aren't sticking with him.
The entire thing has been a witch hunt, and there is no collusion between certainly myself and my campaign.
He's entitled to his opinion. I would suggest to the president that one has been appointed, honor that decision, cooperate where it's appropriate.
The president was asked during a news conference whether he tried to get former FBI Director James Comey to shut down his investigation into fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn.
You look back. No. Next question.
The answer, setting up a showdown with Comey, who reportedly took detailed notes of his conversation with the president before sealing his fate with this testimony Trump vented about.
It makes me mildly nauseous to think that we might have had some impact on the election.
That was a poor performance.
The president has admitted he was already planning to fire Comey regardless of Rosenstein's recommendation. And as Comey is invited to testify before Congress next week, this controversy is likely to follow the president on his first trip abroad. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
Today, we could find out who will replace James Comey as director of the FBI. Last night, President Trump said he's close to naming who will take the position. Says former Democratic Senator Joe Lieberman of Connecticut's his top choice. Lieberman served in the U.S. Senate for 24 years. He was also a former vice presidential candidate for Al Gore in the 2000 race for president.
Well, happening today, the House of Representatives will take a final vote on a bill that aims to revamp the troubled foster care system in Texas. KVUE's Corey Coffin joins us from the Capitol this morning with what this could mean for the state. Corey.
Well, Yvonne, good morning to you. Many have been pushing for an overhaul of foster care and child protective services in general after several cases were found to be mismanaged. Now, in extreme instances, a few of those cases resulted in the child's death. So, Senate Bill 11 transfers foster care management from the state to community-based organizations. These organizations will handle child protective services cases and place children in homes. It also breaks the state into smaller regions so that recruitment of families isn't just done in Austin, but also on a local level.
I think the status quo has been, let's put more money in and that'll fix it. Let's put more money in and that'll fix it. And really, we have done that, really for the last decade, really even beyond. We've doubled the amount of money put in CPS with about a 20% increase in kids in 12 years. Okay, but the results haven't been a lot better. And so it's not just money.
Now, CPS workers have testified that they are overburdened with cases and more recruitment is needed. They say that's how some children fall through the cracks. The same goes for foster homes. There are just not enough to keep up with demand, which is leaving children in crowded homes and unsafe situations. Now, if the House passes this bill today, we'll go back to the original author for review of the amendments that were added. Live at the Capitol, I'm Corey Coffin for KVUE News.
Corey, thank you. The 21-year-old accused of killing a University of Texas student on campus earlier this month and injuring 3 others will go through another mental evaluation to determine if he's fit to stand trial for murder. Kendricks White was a student at UT. He was already examined by a doctor hired by his defense team. That test showed that White is fit to stand trial. However, yesterday a judge ruled that he needs a second exam from a different doctor not hired by his attorneys. After that attack on campus, many students concerned about their safety. So last night, Austin City Council voted to begin a study of lighting in West Campus. Austin Energy will conduct the study with no additional cost to the city. The company, along with city officials, want to see if lights would improve pedestrian safety in the dense University of Texas area neighborhood.
Well, the U.S. Department of Housing Urban Development announced it is awarding San Marcos an additional $7.7 million for disaster recovery from the 2015 floods. The department's community development hands out the money for communities in the most impacted areas with significant unmet recovery needs. San Marcos was one of several local and state governments to receive the funding, along with the state of Texas, which received $15 million. And now let's talk about the weather and the wetness, because there's going to be plenty of rain, right, Erica?
Wetness, I like that word. It's pretty damp out there this morning in terms of humidity levels and also the rain shower activity that we're tracking for this weekend. Here's a look at what you're waking up to. Temperatures in the 70s, overcast skies, no sun in the forecast today or tomorrow or Sunday. Unfortunately, very, very cloudy conditions in store. 20% chance of an isolated shower this morning. But check out the severe weather that's north of us. All the storms continue to dominate North Texas, Oklahoma, into Kansas, now making its way into Missouri, also portions of Illinois. That's where still some severe thunderstorm watches are in place. Take a look at the widespread amount of storm reports that were overnight. Pretty intense, but there's still a severe weather threat in terms of the heart of the nation, but again, north of our viewing area. The hill country is the only spot where it is of concern, so we're calling a 30% chance of possible afternoon storms. Very minimal chance, but if there are any storms, it's mainly just going to encompass the hill country this afternoon. So other than that, mostly cloudy, 90 degrees. It's going to be humid, sticky. Not much rain to relieve us from the heat, and also still some south winds at 10 to 20 miles an hour, so it could be breezy at times. Overnight, temperatures in the 70s, another warm and muggy evening in store for this Friday night. Here's a quick sneak peek at your weekend forecast. At least, guys, I think the rain will hopefully relieve us from the fact that it's been so humid, but any outdoor plans Saturday evening, I highly advise you to put those indoors because it's going to be a little bit of a wet weekend. Guys, back to you.
Erica, thank you. A Texas mother getting a lot of attention this morning, how she fought off two armed robbers who tried to attack her.
Plus, scary footage of a school employee lifting a student up by the neck. What charges that worker is now facing. Welcome back. 6:14 is your time. Take a look here. A Pennsylvania school employee is facing charges after lifting that student up several times by the neck. The video shows a 13-year-old's feet dangling as a worker carried him down the hall. This happened back in April. He's a behavior specialist at Rankin Promise School in Pennsylvania. The worker is now facing charges for endangering the life of a child and assault. The boy was not hurt. Overnight, protesters camped below the General Robert E. Lee statue in New Orleans. It's the last Confederate statue in town, built in 1884. City officials already removed 3 others. This one, though, might be a little more difficult. The statue is close to 20 feet tall, and it sits atop a 60-foot tall column. Wow, you can see it there. It's expected to come down, though, in just a few hours. There's a turnout, though.
Live pictures there. Austin's food science is struggling because restaurant owners say they can't find enough workers. There's a server and cook shortage. Owners blame it on how low the unemployment rate is in the city. Right now, it's just under 4%. According to the Texas Workforce Commission, and while most people would think that's a good thing, owners say it means there's no one to fill job openings. All right, if you're hitting the road for summer holiday season, you'll probably have to plan stops for bathroom breaks. And while all Texans love stopping at Buc-ee's, they actually might not have the cleanest bathrooms. New study looked at the cleanest bathrooms in each state, and Buc-ee's did not win in Texas. The top honor went to Quick Trip instead. Gas Buddy looked at reviews of gas stations across the state to come up with the cleanest restroom stop.
That's good to know, though, right?
How would you like to be the guy doing that study?
Yeah. Oh.
What did you do today, honey? Well, I stopped at restrooms.
Hey, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it, right?
Yeah, Buc-ee's is great, though. Let's be honest. You can't go wrong there.
I grew up with Quick Trip, but it's not as enjoyable.
Yeah, it's the whole experience when you go to Buc-ee's.
Yeah, you can go shopping in the bathroom at Buc-ee's.
You always end up like, well, I needed this 5-pound cinnamon roll. I needed it.
Of course you did.
And I needed this, like, random hat. You know what I mean?
You can't ever have enough hats, right? Yeah. Absolutely.
That's for sure. Well, hey, lots of rain to talk about in the forecast this weekend. It's still a sticky and warm start to your Friday. Live look outside downtown. Lots of clouds out there. Dew points in the 70s and mid to upper 70s this morning. Kind of a repeat of yesterday, except the degrees in terms of our humidity levels are a little bit lower. Temperatures right now 75 in Austin. Still some upper 70s for Llano. Also 76 in LaGrange, Lockhart. You're at 73 degrees this morning in Thorndale. A degree warmer for you guys. So we still have a severe weather threat for the heart of the nation today. An enhanced risk just west of Dallas for southern Oklahoma into portions of North Texas. But of course, yet again, Austin remains just south of this system. We have been extremely lucky. The only areas that are of concern today will be the hill country. A slight risk for Mason County, parts of Llano and Burnett County. 30% chance is what we're calling it for some possible storms this afternoon. And that's because we're on the southern end, so don't be alarmed if some storms do pop up this afternoon. As for this morning, though, it's very saturated out there, so still a spotty sprinkle expected for the entire viewing area as you're heading out the door. But this is the reason why the hill country is our main concern this afternoon. Could possibly have a few rumbles of thunder, maybe some stronger storms at times. So speaking of this weekend, though, it's going to get quite interesting as there will be a cold front pushing through us. We're talking heavy rain for mainly Saturday evening into the overnight, and then scattered storms are going to continue into Sunday. This is how it's all going to break down for the next 48 hours or so. So Saturday morning, widespread clouds, light rain expected on the scattered to maybe spotty side, and then we'll have a better chance as we head into the second half of the day. Notice heavy rain encompassing the entire viewing area from, let's say, early evening into the overnight hours. That's going to be heavy rainfall that could fall within the 72-hour span. We're talking about 2 inches or so in rainfall for the central counties of Texas. So that includes our viewing area. Mold is expected to be in the high category because of the moisture that continues to dominate, and then the rain shower chances are going to continue into next week. The busy wet weather pattern continues for us here in Austin. And Naveed, how do the roads look like this morning?
Good morning, Erica. Well, not as busy as your forecast. So the green light here through all of the Austin metro area. You can see no major incidents. So a good Friday morning indeed. So let's go ahead and talk about those drive times. I-35 northbound Buda to downtown, a 17-minute commute. Same here. I-35 southbound Round Rock to downtown, a 17-minute commute. I-183 southbound 45 to Mopac, a 7-minute commute. 11 minutes 45 to I-35 if you're coming in from the Cedar area. All right, guys, back to you.
Annaby, thank you. Facebook is a convenient way to keep in touch with friends you might not see very often.
Yeah, we're on Facebook Live right now.
That's right. Hi.
And now the social media side is making it even easier to communicate with them. ABC's Diane Macedo and Candace Gibson explain the changes Facebook is bringing to its users.
In today's Tech Bites, a new look for Facebook users.
Changes are coming to Messenger. New features include tabs on the top of the screen to view messages. The bottom of the screen will have sections for people, calls, and games.
Facebook says the changes will make it easier for users to connect.
Google's emojis are notoriously unpopular, but that's also changing. The blob face designs are gone, replaced by squishy circles.
The company spent nearly 2 years redesigning the emojis. The full update set to roll out this summer.
Those are your Tech Bites.
Have a good one.
Your school bell forecast is calling some possible sprinkles this morning and then some possible storm chances mainly for the hill country this afternoon. Temperatures are still going to be warm, muggy. Heat index values will be near 100 for some folks out there because of the fact that it's so humid, and highs near 90 degrees. Here's a look at your UV index forecast for today. It's moderate. Even though there will be lots of clouds out there, still need to protect yourself from the UV rays. Use sunscreen, at least SPF 30, and reduce your exposure to the sun. Guys, back to you.
Erica, thank you. The HPV vaccine helps protect young women from certain types of cancer, and now new research suggests it can do the same for young men. HPV is a sexually transmitted infection, the leading cause of cervical cancer. Based on a study by the American Society of Clinical Oncology, the same vaccine may lower the risk of oral infections that can cause mouth and throat cancers in young men. A Dallas mother getting praise for fighting off 2 armed robbers who tried to attack her. She says it happened yesterday morning after she dropped off her son's medication at his school. 2 men walked up to her and took her money, smashed her phone on the ground, and told her to give them her shoes. She didn't remove the shoes. Instead, it was the gloves that came off.
When he said her shoes, I started punching him in the face. I punched him probably like 4 times. Well, I'm going to get some licks off of him. I'm going to, let him feel a little pain. I might be a female, but females do know how to hit too.
She made him run away. She scared those little punks off. That's when the robbers took off running. Police still searching for them this morning. I sure hope they find them. A 14-year-old Texas boy facing big charges this morning. What he did that could make him a registered sex offender for the rest of his life. And rain expected over the weekend. So what's the plan if it starts falling during UT's graduation ceremony on Saturday night? We'll tell you. Stay with us.
This is KVUE News Daybreak.
Welcome back, everyone. 6:28 is your time.
Boy, look at those clouds out there. That's right. Rain is in the forecast again. Let's get right to meteorologist Erica Lopez with a look at what the weekend holds. Hey, Erica.
Hey there, Brian. Yeah, we're keeping an eye on some mostly cloudy starts to our day for the majority of the viewing area. Gloomy start to the Friday. Dew points in the 70s right now. 77 for ABIA Camp Mabry at 75 degrees. The southeast winds continues to keep us on the muggy side. Check out the storms that are still going on north of our viewing area. We have been so lucky here in Austin with the system that's dominating the heart of the nation. Severe thunderstorm watch for San Angelo. That encompasses a large portion of I-20 and also watch still in place for eastern Missouri, making its way into western Illinois this morning. Strong storms still in those areas. So that's where we have this slight risk of severe weather in place, an enhanced risk for northern Texas, and yet again, Austin, we are on the safe side just south of that entire system. But the hill country is really our only main concern. 30% chance of storms this afternoon. That is really all we're expecting in terms of any rain shower chances, minus some spotty sprinkles you could run into this morning. Highs will be in the 90s. Feel like temperatures, though, near mid to upper 90s. Tracking some rain this weekend. I'll chat about it in the full forecast. As for now, turning things over to Anna V. Reyes for a traffic update.
Thank you, Erica. Good morning, guys. Good Friday morning. No major incidents to report on, so let's go ahead and get to those drive times. I-35 northbound Buda to downtown, 22 minutes. A little bit of slower traffic there. Green light I-35 southbound Round Rock to downtown, 20-minute commute. And Mopac southbound 45 to downtown, a 15-minute commute. 4 minutes, 22 to Cesar Chavez. And if you're coming in from Cedar Park, 183 southbound 45 to Mopac, a 7-minute commute. 10 minutes from 45 to I-35. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Anna V. Before heading out on his first international trip as president, yesterday President Trump talked to reporters about the investigation into his presidential campaign and Russian influence with some pretty strong words.
Well, I respect the move, but the entire thing has been a witch hunt, and there is no collusion between certainly myself and my campaign, but I can always speak for myself and the Russians, zero. I think it divides the country. I think we have a very divided country because of that and many other things. So I can tell you that we want to bring this great country of ours together.
In the news conference, the president was also asked whether he tried to get James Comey to back off his investigation into fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn. The president responded quickly, saying, "No." Next question.
President Trump will leave this afternoon on his first international trip since taking office. It's a 5-country journey to meet with some of the most important figures in the Middle East and Europe. The president's first stop will be in Saudi Arabia before continuing to Israel, Italy, and Vatican City, where he'll hang out with the Pope. He finishes up the week at a NATO summit in Belgium and the G7 summit in Italy. In Saudi Arabia, President Trump is expected to deliver his first major speech on Islam, where he will focus on the fight against terrorism and extremism.
We could soon see mandatory seatbelts on school buses. According to the Texas Tribune, House lawmakers tentatively approved legislation requiring seatbelts on all 2017 and newer school buses statewide. The measure still needs final approval before it heads to the governor's desk.
Well, a former employee of Stony Point High School in Round Rock is facing charges this morning after he told police he had a sexual relationship with the student. 22-year-old Terrell Van Winkle is accused of having inappropriate relationships with 3 female students at the high school where he worked as an assistant debate coach. He is being charged with sexual assault of a child and 2 counts of possession of child pornography. If convicted, he could receive up to 10 years in prison for each child pornography charge and up to 20 years for sexual assault of a minor.
Travis County's top attorney is taking steps to protect crime witnesses and victims who are in the country illegally. District Attorney Margaret Moore is sending letters to those people that they can show to immigration officials considering their deportation. This comes after a recent immigration crackdown that has people worried about coming forward and reporting crimes. Moore told our partners over at the Austin American-Statesman there is no guarantee that immigration officials will honor those letters.
A Texas police officer has been pulled from patrol duty after investigators say he offered to dismiss traffic tickets in exchange for nude photos. According to affidavits, Officer Michael Kopak with the Baytown Police Department made the offer to an 18-year-old. Investigators say at first the officer ticketed the woman, but then he later contacted her through social media and text messages to make that offer. Critics say the accusations raise some serious questions within the department.
Has more than one woman been extorted in this manner? It also allows the chief to find out if it's any deeper in his department, if it's more than one rotten apple, if it's actually some hidden subculture within the department, if he gets more people coming forth.
Kopak has not been charged with the crime, and as of right now, it's just a subject of a criminal and internal affairs investigation.
How young is too young to have sex? A 14-year-old Houston area boy could spend the rest of his life as a registered sex offender for having sex with his 12-year-old girlfriend. The teen's attorney says the boy's charged with aggravated sexual assault of a minor. The boy's mother spoke with our sister station in Houston, didn't want to show her face. However, she says while she doesn't condone her son having sex at such a young age, she says what her son did was not a crime.
His girlfriend, and they had a relationship and they loved each other and they cared about each other, and unfortunately they made a very poor choice to have sex.
Now, the state's Romeo and Juliet law provides legal defense for consensual sex between minors who are 14 or older and someone who is within 3 years of that age. So had the girl been 2 years older, the boy wouldn't be facing any charges.
And now let's take a look here at some video. You're looking at video from 2 years ago, the last time the University of Texas commencement was rained out. Well, the spring commencement at UT is still planned for tomorrow, but there's a backup plan just in case. The university says they still plan to hold the outdoor university-wide graduation on the main mall despite rain chances. And if it does rain, they will move the commencement to Sunday instead, and that ceremony will start an hour later.
Families across the country picking up the pieces after almost 36 tornadoes hit several states, including Texas and Oklahoma. The latest radar shows more stormy weather. ABC's Candace Gibson has more on the weather moving through the heartland.
Storm, probably 20 miles wide.
This morning, conditions across the southern plains just right for forming tornadoes. Already at least 2 twisters touching down in Oklahoma and 1 in northwest Texas.
Here we go. Here comes the circulation.
These storm chasers on the hunt, pelted by hail. The Oklahoma City area expecting more severe weather today. Public schools there let out early yesterday as the storm danger grew. There have been more than 36 reported tornadoes since Tuesday. The most powerful hit Wichita and carved a 27-mile path. This week's tornadoes are blamed for at least 3 deaths in Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Candace Gibson, ABC News, New York.
Well, the strong storms continue to push through the heart of the nation, now making its way into the upper Midwest, but still a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect for parts of Texas. That encompasses I-20. Some major storms have been firing up there all night from West Texas now into Central Texas. Even just west of Wichita Falls, a severe thunderstorm warning has now been issued. So that's all part of the severe weather outlook that's in store for Friday. An enhanced risk for North Texas, Austin. We are on the lucky side again, south of that system, but the hill country is our main concern. 30% chance of some possible storms this afternoon. So it's on the lesser side, but keep in mind if we do have any stronger storms this afternoon, it's really just going to be for the hill country. We are tracking rain chances that will make its way into this weekend. I'm going to give you all the details. Some heavy rain and maybe a washout of your weekend plans. I'll talk about it later this morning. Guys, back to you.
All right, thanks so much. Well, former President George W. Bush taking the internet by storm after he photobombed a reporter. This is Aaron Jones. Check it out. Bush was at the Ranger game in Arlington Wednesday. As he's walking by, he leans forward and says, "Hey," in a Fox Sports Southwest reporter shot. The reporter, Emily Jones, tweeted saying, "My favorite photobomb ever. It's so fast you almost miss it." And of course, the former president was once part owner of that team. I love it. We both know Emily.
Yeah, that's
I work with her in Lubbock,
fantastic.
and you know her as well.
The president of the United States photobombing you.
What's going on?
That's pretty cool there.
Nice little GIF. We should make a GIF out of that.
We should.
Well, it's finally over. The lawsuit over the bad movie date comes to an end. We're going to hear from the woman this morning who was at the center of that suit and why her date decided not to take her to court.
Be a model for my kids to look at, and example is more important to me than the financial part.
And it's a job much more valuable than any paycheck. In our parental pressure series, we're talking to stay-at-home dads and what they're saying to those that might not approve of their choice to be a stay-at-home dad. Stay with us.
Good morning. Coming up on GMA, President Trump has blasted the appointment of a special counsel to look into Russia and his campaign.
Welcome back. 6:42 is your time. Here are some of today's top stories. Sweden's top prosecutor dropping an investigation into a rape claim against WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange after almost 7 years. He took refuge in Ecuador's embassy in London in 2012 to escape extradition to Sweden for sex crime allegations from 2 women. Now, he has been there ever since to avoid the possibility of also being extradited to the U.S. over WikiLeaks' publication of secret documents. Well, happening today at the state capitol, the House of Representatives will take a final vote on a bill that aims to revamp the troubled foster care system in Texas. Senate Bill 11 transfers foster care management from the state to community-based organizations. Those organizations will handle child protective services cases and place children in homes. Brian.
Yvonne, thank you. Daycare for young kids can get pricey, so many families choose to have one parent stay home. For more and more families, that parent is the dad. In fact, studies show there are nearly 2 million stay-at-home dads here in the United States. It's not for every dad, but those that choose to stay home say it is a pretty great job.
Hucky's always the boss, but he's not, right?
My kids seem well-adjusted. I think I'm doing all right.
You're the boss.
That's what I think, anyway.
They are writers, teachers, business owners, chefs, and entrepreneurs.
Yeah, it's good shit, but you have...
They're also dads. Their careers, at least for a little while, are taking a back seat.
Oh, I should have caught that on camera.
75% of my income would have gone just to paying for daycare.
So it was an easy decision?
It was pretty easy.
Primarily be there and kind of be a model for my kids to look at, and example is more important to me than the financial part.
Jelani, get down and put that stick down.
The decision for dad to stay home is difficult for some families, but...
Have you seen Secret Life of Pets?
Not so difficult for others.
All right, okay.
No, I was kind of ready for a break and a new experience. I was working 70-plus hours a week.
These dads put in the hours, and while they're not in a traditional role and don't have traditional job-related pressures, the pressure's still there.
One of the pressures that hits me the most is just knowing that you're on duty all the time. There's no break. I mean, and not that going to work in an office or wherever is a break, because you're still working, but when you're an at-home parent, whether you're a mom or a dad, it's 24/7.
And because of that, these dads need a chance to unwind, many times with the kiddos in tow, by getting together with other men in the Austin Dads group.
Just having other adults to talk to is pretty important, because right now I just sit at home, and honestly, for the first 5 or 6 months of a child's life, it's kind of boring.
It's the best of both worlds, where we meet new people in similar situations, and also Chloe meets new children.
There's no paycheck at the end of the day, but these dads say their compensation is much more valuable.
I get to see the first steps. I get to hear the first words. I get to do all these things that traditionally either moms or caregivers or maybe daycare people get to see.
Some are jealous they get to spend all of this quality time with their kids.
Yay.
Others, they don't get how these men can put their careers on hold.
it's none of your business. It's if I want to stay home and be a stay-at-home dad, I'm going to be a stay-at-home dad, and that's what I'm going to do. And it gives me the chance to be around to see all these things with her.
At the end of the day, these dads love their jobs. Most of all, they love their kids.
I don't regret it at all. I mean, every day I wake her up and she just pops up with a big smile like she's ready to get on with the day, you know, and so that lets me know I made the right decision.
I think 2 out of the 3 kids' first words was Dad, but that's just luck of the draw, I think.
Just how it happens.
That's just how it happens. I don't have a problem with it, though, but that's just how it happened.
Wonderful story. A big thanks to Kat Gutierrez for putting that together and editing that story for me. Anyone interested in joining the Austin Dads group, you can go to their website, meetup.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Great group of guys. Their information is there on your screen. If you're a stay-at-home dad and looking for some buddies to hang with, these guys are a good group.
Do you notice that one shot with the kid threw up on the dad? He was like, yeah, whatever.
And whatever.
We're all good.
It's already got stains on it. We're good.
Well, coming up next week on Daybreak, we are starting up a new series called Is It Worth It? We will take a look at certain services offered to customers nowadays, such as curbside pickup at the grocery store or getting clothes delivered to you in a box to see if they are worth it. Also, Daybreak, is it worth it? Is it worth it? No, I'm just kidding.
Don't ask him that, Yvonne.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah,
Don't ask
and it
him
is.
that.
The answer is yes.
It is definitely worth it.
Excited for that one. All the shopping.
Yeah, I like
ones.
it.
Yeah, I've always wanted to try them. All right, well, let's talk weather because we have some rain chances headed our way for this weekend. I'll let you know how to plan out your weekend. As for this morning, it's sticky, muggy, lots of clouds out there. Live look downtown, temperatures in the mid-70s. So kind of a repeat of yesterday morning where it was on the warmer side. And yeah, dew point still in the 70s, unfortunately. Right now, temperatures throughout the entire viewing area, we're hanging around in the mid to lower 70s or so, a few upper 70s. There is a large system that's hanging out across the heart of the nation, still bringing in severe weather threat across portions of the upper Midwest and then all the way into central Texas. The good news for Austin, we yet again remain south of that severe weather threat, but storm chances, our best chance is for the hill country this afternoon. That encompasses a 30% chance of some possible afternoon storms. Not expecting anything for Austin, not expecting anything for the eastern counties. Our main concern will be the hill country today, but on the smaller side. What we could see for the rest of the viewing area this morning, though, is possibly some spotty sprinkles out there. 20% chance of maybe an isolated shower or two this afternoon. Those storm chances only for the hill country again, because this is really how it's going to look like. If there is a storm that pops up this afternoon, could be on the stronger side. This weekend, that's completely different. We're talking almost a washout Saturday night into the evening, or Saturday evening into the overnight hours. That's because we do have a cold front that will be pushing through the viewing area. If you have any plans to get stuff done outdoors, I think your best pocket of dry time will be the first half of Saturday, but still lots of clouds and spotty shower chances. But again, it's Saturday evening where it's going to be the heavy rain that we'll be seeing. So here's how it's going to play out. Still scattered showers. This is the start of Saturday. And then Saturday, mid-morning into late morning, still those isolated showers are possible. Lots of clouds. Take a look how that just layer of heavy rain will push through. That's a cold front that will make its way through our viewing area and bring in a good chance of rain shower activity into the overnight hours for Sunday. So for the next 72 hours, we're talking possibly 2 inches that could be accumulated for Austin. We need that rain because we're about 2 inches in deficit for this time of the year here in Austin. Mold is expected to remain in the high category. You can check out your latest counts every single day in the Statesman. Here's how the next few days will play out. We're talking rain shower chances of about, or that will continue into the upcoming week. So finally, a break by the end of next week. Also, don't forget to keep up to date with weather. Make sure to download the KVUE weather app. You can see live radar right where you live, and also check out our hour-by-hour forecast and watch us live. Just search KVUE in the App Store for the KVUE app. Anna Vidres has the latest on traffic. How are things shaping up this morning?
Pretty good for the most part. This is a live look at 183 and Mopac southbound. Traffic is now a little bit busier now that we are in rush hour full effect. So let's go ahead and take a look at this crash. This is the only incident in our viewing area. This accident is at 1:30 at FM 969. So something to look out for if you're driving in to the city. Let's go ahead and talk about this closure before I leave you. Red River Street from MLK to near 12th Street, that will be closed, and all Also, 15th Street from I-35 to Trinity Street will also be closed. This will take an effect this Sunday from 12 a.m., but they will be reopened on Monday, and it's all due to the UMC Brackenridge closing. And Seton staff will be transferring those patients to the new Del Seton Hospital, so expect that this Sunday. Drive times I-35 northbound, Buda to downtown, 26 minutes. I-35 southbound, Round Rock to downtown. Guys, back to you.
Right, thanks so much. 6:50 is your time. A group of kindergartners recovering this morning. There we go, near Houston, after taking prescription drugs at school. It happened yesterday in Splendora, that's north of Houston. District officials say a little girl brought the medicine to school and handed it out to other students, telling them it was candy. 7 kids actually took the pills, and as soon as teachers found out, they rushed to tell administrators. Most of the kids are home now. Only one of the students had to be admitted to the hospital as a precaution.
All right, we have a resolution this morning to that big story. It's been breaking all over the world. We've been following it all week. You know the story of the man here in Austin suing the woman he was on a date with because she was texting in the theater during their date in the movie. Well, the lawsuit has been dropped.
I would love to give you your $17.31.
That's Crystal Cruz. She paid Brandon Vesmar the $17.31. That's how much he said she owed him. He was taking her to court for the money, in fact, after she walked out of their date after he confronted her about texting during the movie on their very first blind date. Well, the two met for the first time this week since the date.
Let me move on with my life. I'll do whatever it takes. This is insane. I just couldn't even believe it. I've cried, I've laughed, I've been mad.
A lot of emotions there. Cruz says Vesmar went to great lengths to find her on social media so that he could sue her. Vesmar has since agreed to drop the lawsuit, and Cruz says she's learned to be more careful when dating. So it's over.
Let's be done with it now.
Yes, okay.
A rainy weekend ahead. Erica Lopez joins us once again to let us know what you can expect on this weekend.
Yeah, we're not done with the weather.
KVUE's Jay Wallace here in the newsroom with developing news this morning. San Antonio's fire department is grieving the loss of one of their own after a huge fire at a mall. Take a look. This is a live look at the department of that fallen officer. You can see the flag is at half staff in his honor. And while the department has calmed down for the most part this morning, these trucks were out last night trying to contain the fire. Here is that fire. Broke out around 9 o'clock last night at the Ingram Mall. Officials say firefighters entered the building to look for people who may have been inside. But once under the roof, the flames spread and the firefighters couldn't escape. Scott Dean died in the fire. He had been with the department for 6 years.
Give us your prayers tonight, because we're hurting. But we're going to continue to do the good job that we always do.
2 other firefighters were also injured in the fire. They are expected to survive. And no word yet what sparked the fire. We will continue to give the latest as the day progresses. In the newsroom, Jay Wallace, KVUE News.
All right. How are the roads looking out there on this Friday morning?
Pretty good for the most part. Well, now we're in full rush hour, so you can see a lot of red lights there, but traffic's moving quite nicely. 183 southbound, 45 to Mopac, a 9-minute commute, 12 minutes from 45 to I-35 on 183 southbound. All right, Eric, I'm going to try to see if I can go to Bernie this weekend. Do you think that it's going to affect me? This weather is going to affect me?
We talked about this. What day were you going again?
Saturday.
We'll talk about that in a second. But for today, storm chances just for the hill country. Now tomorrow, rain chances are very widespread. We could be battling some heavy rain. So yeah, if you're traveling, be careful on the roads.
Take an umbrella.
Use the hill country. You know?
What?
Hill country.
No, but that